Hello everyone, I'm Karpagajothi, Assistant Professor, Department of English SF, Nirmala College for Women, Coimbatore. In this module, we are going to see about the poem Because I Could Not Stop for Death, written by Emily Dickinson. We are going to see about this poem's summary and critical analysis. Let's get into it. What we are going to learn: Introduction to Emily Dickinson, text of the poem, summary and analysis, the themes. We will start with the introduction. Emily Dickinson was born on 10th December 1830 in Massachusetts, United States. Emily Dickinson was a prominent American poet. She lived her life in isolation mostly. Dickinson never married till the end of her life. When she was alive, only 10 of her poems were published. Though Dickinson's acquaintances were aware of her writing capability, they did not know the worth of her writings until Lavinia, younger sister of Emily Dickinson, discovered Emily's poem after her death in 1886. Her general themes in most of her poems are death and immortality. Her first collection of poetry, titled as Poems, was published posthumously in 1890. The poem, Because I Could Not Stop for Death, is taken from her first collection. Let's get into the poem. Because I Could Not Stop for Death, written by Emily Dickinson. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. We slowly drove. He knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too for his civility. We passed the school where children strove at recess in the ring. We passed the fields of gazing grain. We passed the sun. Or rather, he passed us. The dews drew quivering and chill, for only gossamer my gown, my tippet, only We passed before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then, it is centuries, and yet feels shorter than the day. I first surmised the horse's head were eternity. We will see about the summary and analysis of the poem. The first stanza. The speaker says that she could not stop for death. It's obvious because none of us know when we face our end. It is the same in the speaker's case. A point to note is that it seems the speaker is not afraid to face her death. It seems like she is eagerly awaiting to greet her death. And death came to her. Here, death is called as he. The speaker has personified death as a man. He stopped his carriage so that she could get in. It was just them and immortality. The speaker was happy to know that there was an afterlife because immortality was also present. The second stanza. How was the drive? It was a slow and peaceful one, according to the speaker. She also added that death was not rushing. She left all her labor and leisure, ultimately her earthly life, because for his politeness and courtesy in behavior. It seems like the speaker has already befriended the death. The third. Now they are passing some scenes. The speaker said that they passed a school where students were rushing out to play in circles during break time. They passed the field of grains that was gazing at them. The evening sunset. On the other hand, these are not just normal incidents. They come across, but the death is making the speaker to reminiscence her past. The poem is warm and gentle until this point. Fourth stanza. Maybe the speaker is wrong. Why so? It did not seem like they passed the sunset. The sun passed them, and immediately there was a shift in the air. It became chill that left her body shaking really hard. Only then she realized that she was wearing a thin gown and her scarf was made of a tulle. Maybe death was not so gentle towards her. Maybe she has lured into this trap. Fifth stanza. The speaker realized that they have stopped. They have paused before a house that seemed to have already been half buried in the ground. The roof of the house was scarcely visible, and the cornice that comes below the ceiling was already in the ground. Is that the tomb? Is this where the speaker is going to rest hereafter? Does this mean people do not have an afterlife? Sixth stanza. Since that time, it's already been many centuries. Though centuries have passed, it felt like shorter than the day because the speaker guessed something true that holds nothing to prove her thought. She thought that the horse's head were heading the direction of eternity. Finally, let's see about the themes of this poem. By this time, you would have guessed death would be a theme. Yes, of course. First of all, death is perceived as a man, a gentleman in that. How death has been indirectly portrayed? Who are going to meet their end thinks of their past. Here, the speaker reminisces her past. And finally, we have the sun also. When sunrise denotes new birth, chill climate, and sunset denotes death. Another theme we can see is immortality. From the beginning, the speaker expects an afterlife and views death as just a next step of her life and not an end. As she expects, in this final stanza, she says the horse faced towards eternity. I hope you really enjoyed this video and you understood about the summary and analysis of this poem. Thank you for watching this video.